Hello, welcome to Yoga with Breck. Welcome to my sunny garden, my colourful garden today. Don't look too closely because there are actually quite a lot of weeds, but it is beautifully in flower, so I thought I'd share it with you. And we are sharing a gardener's sequence, so I thought it'd be rather inspirational, both for myself and hopefully for you too. We're going to take ourselves into just a comfortable seated position to start. We're just going to allow ourselves to lengthen the spine, find some space between the ears and the tops of the shoulders. I'm just going to invite you to start tuning into your body, tuning into how your body feels for you today, right now. And if you feel comfortable to just taking some breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. You might be able to hear the bird song and the lawnmowers. Bring that into your world, bring that into how you're feeling in your muscles, your feet, your legs, your hands, your arms, your shoulders. Just noticing any little sensations. Any shifts in temperature. I might be feeling particularly warm or cold. And wherever might be needing breath from you, inviting your breath to these areas. Nice strong breath in to that area, and then as you breathe out, if you're able, sending any negative, any toxins away. Taking some nice strong breaths for yourself. I'm going to invite you to shift your focus to different areas of the body as we create a three-part breath. So you might want to take your hands first to the diaphragm area. Just for yourself, just focusing on your breath as it moves into the diaphragm and out. You'll be feeling those hands slightly raising, moving away from each other as you inhale, and moving back together as you exhale. Now we're going to shift our focus to our ribs. So again, you might want to take your hands to the side of the ribs. You don't have to, this can be helpful sometimes to just feel that, again, that movement in the ribs as you inhale. That kind of sideways shift, and then as you exhale, the hands coming closer back to each other. And then from there, shifting the focus to the upper chest, so just below the collarbone. Slightly tighter space to get into, but you can still, with good amounts of concentration, fill that space with breath. And from here, I'm going to invite you to join me. So we're going to take some counted breaths in those three areas and then bring them together to create the three-part breath. So if you want to, again, just taking the hands to the diaphragm area, we're going to breathe in for 3 and out for 3 a couple of times. So breathing in, 2, 3, hold, and exhale, 2, 3, hold. Inhale, 2, 3, hold, and exhale, 2, 3, Hold one more time, breath in to the diaphragm. 3, hold and exhale. 2, 3, hold. Just turning to your own breath for a moment. We're going to shift the focus now to the ribs. When you're ready, join me for breathing in. 2, 3, hold and exhale. 2, 3, hold. Inhale. 2, 3, hold and exhale. 2, 3, hold. One more. Inhale. 2, 3, hold and exhale. 2, 3, hold. And then shifting the focus now to the upper chest. So again, maybe moving the hands just below the collarbone. And when you're ready, joining me for inhale. 2, 3, hold and exhale. 2, 3, hold. Inhale. 2, 3, hold and exhale. 2, 3, hold. One last time. Inhale. 2, 3, hold and exhale. 2, 3, hold. And we're going to put those 3 together. So just taking a breath for yourself first. And then joining me to inhale into the diaphragm. 2, 3, hold. Inhaling into the ribs. 2, 3, hold. Topping up with breath into the upper chest. 2, 3, hold. And then a long, big breath out. And then inhaling into the diaphragm. 2, 3, hold. Topping up with breath into the ribs. 2, 3, hold. Topping up with breath into the upper chest. 2, 3, hold. And then big breath out. And then inhaling into the diaphragm. 2, 3, hold. Topping up with breath into the ribs. 2, 3, hold. Topping up with breath into the upper chest. 2, 3, hold. And big breath out. And from there, just taking the hands on to the thighs, just letting them rest. You may have had your eyes closed like me for most of that practice. So just very gently, just bringing the eyes open if you want to, or we're going to take some head and shoulder warm up, so you can keep the eyes closed for a little bit longer if you want. We're going to take a breath in. And take a breath out, drop the chin as you breathe out onto the chest. Inhaling, bringing the head back to center. And exhaling, take the chin up to the sky, the head back. Inhale, bring the head back to center. And as you breathe out, looking over the right shoulder. Inhaling, bring the head back to center. Exhaling, looking over to the left shoulder, exhaling. Inhaling, bringing the head back to center. From here, we're going to bring the hands onto the shoulders, and we're going to take a inhale and roll the shoulders back and behind us first. And then inhaling again, rolling the shoulders up and over and down first. And I'm going to let the elbows now join in, and I'm going to bring everything up. And then exhaling, taking the elbows behind you. And again, inhaling, bring the elbows up in a big, wide circle, round and behind as you exhale. And then in the other direction, inhaling, taking the elbows behind you. And as you exhale, bring them up and over and forward and down. And then one more time. So it's really warming through both the shoulders, the shoulder blades, and the upper arms as well. And then exhale, bringing the elbows forward and down in front of you. Lovely. And then from there, we're going to bring the hands out in balls in front of us, taking a breath in. As we exhale, we're going to extend the little finger, the ring finger, the index, the pointing, the thumb, and just keeping them really nice and stretched. We work our hands quite a lot in gardening. Taking a breath in. As you exhale, this time bring the thumb in, the pointing, the index, the ring, the little finger, and then some just breath in. As you breathe out, stretch out. Breathing in, bring them in. And breathing out. Lovely. Going to bring our legs out in front of us. Going to bring our feet and our hands to join in this one. So inhaling, flexing the feet and the hands upwards. Sorry, extending them upwards. And as we exhale, we're going to flex away and we're going to bring our hands into balls and stretch down the fronts of the hands. Inhaling to extend. Exhaling to flex away. One more time. Inhaling to extend. Exhaling. Bring the hands into balls. So really stretching down the fronts of the hands. Lovely. And bring them together. And then we're going to bring the feet in to a butterfly, actually, because we're in our garden. And from here, just if your eyes are still slightly closed or just looking down, again, just you can bring them to, or you can keep closing them actually, because we're going into butterfly in a kind of a yin style. So we're going to hold for about a minute first. So again, the feet are not too close towards the body. They're more like a diamond shape in front of us, taking our hands onto our feet, and we're going to, using the weight of the head, curve the body over. So it's almost like we're closing over like a flower. Taking ourselves for a good 5 or 6 breaths in and breathing out. Just warming through. You might be feeling this on the insides of the legs or the outsides. Everybody's built a bit differently, but certainly it works deep into the hips. And by bringing the head over like this, not thinking about folding in the hips, you're more stretching through the spine as well. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Last breath in. Breath out. Feeling that breath traveling down the back of the spine. On your next breath in, we're going to bring our face up, our shoulders through our chest into a cow. A cow feeling as you inhale. And as you exhale, curving the back over, closing everything over, so you're stretching through your spine. Inhaling, bringing the chest through the shoulders, bringing that gaze up towards the sky, back into cow. Still with the butterfly legs. And then exhaling, letting everything close over. Stretching through that. One more time, so just warming that spine up here. Bringing that chest through. And then exhaling. Last time coming over. And from there, just allowing the spine to uncurl, bringing it up into a seated position. Lastly, with the head to join. And then taking the hands either side of the knees, just gently bringing those knees together. Maybe walking the feet a little wider than the knees. And just letting the legs reset. Just rotate inwards when they've just been quite heavily rotating outwards. Lovely. Okay, now from here I'm going to turn sideways onto the mat. And again, keeping the feet wide, kind of mat width apart. We're just going to take a breath in, drop the knees over to the right, stretch those legs through. And as you exhale, take the knees over to the left. Inhaling, bringing over to the right. And exhaling, over to the left. Lovely. And then bringing those knees up to center. I'm going to bring myself back onto my elbows. I'm going to extend my left leg long. I'm going to bring my right knee up towards my chest. I'm going to just take some nice kind of hip circles really, but using the knee to guide. So bring the knee across as you inhale and exhaling, taking that knee outwards. And I'm just lengthening the leg there because it's a nice kind of stretch for the leg. Inhaling as the knee crosses over, extending away. And then in the opposite direction. Inhaling as you bring the knee outwards, and then exhaling as the knee crosses over and comes down. And again, inhaling and exhaling. Lovely. And then from there, I'm going to bring the left knee up. I'm going to bring the right leg over, and we're going to take ourselves into seated pigeon. So just bringing ourselves up. If it feels just too strong, you can keep back on the elbows there. But the joy of this position is you can really alter it. You can come back quite long and low on the arms, on straight arms, or you can come up higher, just depending on how much of a stretch you want to give that right hip. And we're just going to just take this position again for a good 4 or 5 breaths, just allowing ourselves to observe what's happening in the body. Just letting that breath travel down into the hip, through the thigh, into the knee, around the shin, into the ankle, and then through the soles of the feet and into the toes. Just feeling that whole leg working in this position. Often when I'm gardening, I think it's really helpful to just watch the garden for a moment before I do any gardening and just see what are the most urgent jobs and what's going to give me joy, and just kind of work out what I need to do, but by watching the garden. So maybe this is a similar exercise in just listening to the body, just listening to what your body needs from you. Breath in, breath out. For the last time, from here, we're going to rock over to the left. So we're going to take the legs over to the left, bringing the sole of the right foot onto the ground. So that's going to rock over to the left. I'm going to arch my right arm up and over, and it's going to come to join my left hand on the mat. And I'm pushing into the ground with both hands, feeling a stretch on that left side and a bit of a compression on the right. Taking a breath in, breath out, breath in. Raise that right hand, circle it up and over back to its original position first, and then bring the legs back into the position. I'll take that one more time. Breath in. So you exhale, dropping the legs over to the left. Bring that right foot onto the floor, then bringing that right arm arcing up and over to join the left hand behind you. Really stretching through that left side and almost taking a nice strong breath into that left lung. Breath in, breath out, breath in. Pick up that right hand, circle it up and over. It comes behind, and then the legs come back into this position. And then from here, we're going to slightly shift this position, bringing the chest through, raising up, taking gaze up towards the sky, towards the tree blossom above me, and pushing into those hands behind as I inhale. And then exhale. You might be feeling that quite a bit in your right hip. If it feels too much, you can walk those hands a bit further away from you. But just continue as you can, as you inhale, to just raise those shoulders, raise the chest through the shoulders. And push into the ground. Nice strong breath out. One more breath here. Inhaling, bring the head to center. Bring the hands towards you, and then taking that right foot very carefully, bringing that right foot onto the mat. And from there, we're going to take that all on the other side. So we're going to take a breath, drop the legs over to the left for a windscreen wiper, and then as exhale, drop the legs over to the right. And again, inhale and exhale. And then coming to center, we're going to come back on our elbows. I'm going to come back a little bit here, extending that right leg. We're going to bring the left knee up towards the chest, inhaling, circling that knee out to the side, lengthening that leg and then pulling it up again. So it's a kind of a hip and a knee kind of work through. And exhale, and then in the opposite direction. Inhaling, bring the leg outwards and then across to exhale. That's it. And again. Inhaling, bring the knee up and then over and down as you exhale. And then from here we're going to bend the right knee, and we're going to bring the left knee over and across. So taking that seated pigeon as we did on the other side. Again, on one side this might just feel the more kind of comfortable, uncomfortable position. But if you are able and willing, you can bring yourself up to here, or explore it and then take yourself back onto your elbows if needed. And again, we're just going to take some observations of the body, hopefully feeling a stretch down the outside of the left hip, left leg, maybe across the shin even actually, maybe even into the ankle joint. It's a funny one, it works different bodies in different ways, doesn't it? Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. One more breath for yourself, pushing into those hands behind you. Breath in, breath out. On the next breath, we're going to flop the legs over to the right so the left foot comes into contact with the ground. And then we're going to bring the left arm arcing up and over to join the right hand on the ground. Feeling that stretch down the outside of the right body and then a compression on the left side of the body. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, raise that left arm up and over and behind, and then bring the legs back into position. Sometimes it's just good to almost take yourself out of position and then come back in again. Breath in, we're going to flop over to the right, bring that left foot into the ground. Arc that arm over to join the right hand on the ground behind you. Feeling that twist in the body. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, arc that left arm up and over and behind, and then bring yourself back into your seated pigeon. And this time I'm going to invite you to maybe bring the hands a little bit closer, but certainly bring the chest through the shoulders, tipping that chin up towards the sky, and just kind of feeling that opening across the chest as you push into the ground behind you. Breath in. As you breathe, that breathing down into the hands to ground yourself. Breath in. And breath out. Breath in, bring the head back to center. Going to walk the hands closer to the body, and then very gently again bring that left foot onto the ground. And then from there, I'm just going to do a little windscreen wiper just once to the right. With the hand actually, it's quite nice, maybe just to add a little bit of weight. Great. And then from there, we're going to take ourselves into dragonfly. A little bit of a stretch through in the legs. Now, in dragonfly, depending on how you operate, you might want to take a little blanket behind you just to open those hips and give a little bit more movement as you come forward. Or the other option, which is quite nice as well, is a bolster. So we're going to take a kind of yin style straddle dragonfly. So just going to find ourselves comfortably coming forward. So we're finding a stretch hopefully through the insides, maybe the outsides too of the legs. And we're just going to hold this for about 6 breaths. You can use the bolster a number of ways. If you're feeling like you want a little something more challenging, you can bring yourself over as well and forward. Breath in. As you breathe out, sending breath down the backs of the legs, into the heels, the soles of the feet, and through into the toe joints, out through the tops of the toes. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. breath in, breath out. One more breath for yourself in this position. Breath in, breath out. Now from here, bringing the hands onto the bolster or onto the floor and just bring yourself gently upright. Now, if you want a bit more of a workout, you can pick up your bolster and take it over to the left. And we're going to turn ourselves round, twist our bodies around to the left and take our hands, both hands, to the outside of the left leg and just bring ourselves forward. So there's a slight, again, twist in the body, so you're stretching the right side and compressing the left. I find in gardening I'm forever twisting around to like reach for things. So I thought this is a good kind of stretch to have in here. Again, you don't have to use the bolster if you don't want to. You can just put the hands on the floor too. So just listening to what works best for you. Breath in, breath out. This is a really favourite weeding position of mine, possibly because I have a lot of weeds and I just find myself needing to sit in one position that's comfortable for a long time. I know this isn't everyone's favourite weeding position. We're going to bring our hands back to centre and then we're going to walk them over to the other side of the right leg. You can again use the bolster on this side if you want to, just whatever works for you. But just walking those hands slightly away from you so you're feeling that stretch down the left side and again that compression in the right side. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Sending breath down the back of that right leg. Breath in. Going to walk those hands closer towards you. And then we're going to move any props that might be in the way. I'm going to move this over here as well so you can see a little better. Going to bring the feet just gently together. And then just walk those hands a little. Walk the legs a little just to kind of let the blood circulate when we've just been staying constant in one position. This is a kind of a bit of a theme actually, because in gardening I find you get stuck in one position. So what I was thinking about is like holding more positions like we do in gardening, but adding a little movement so that when you find yourself stuck in the garden, if you are lucky enough to get to garden, then you can add a little movement and just remind yourself to not get stiff and stuck. But if you don't garden, then this is just hopefully just a lovely sequence to share. We're going to bring ourselves onto our hands and knees into tabletop. Probably going to take my socks off, partly because it's getting really hot, but also because I just need a little bit of grip, and you will as well in our tabletop. We're going to curl our toes under and bring our hands under our shoulders so we're nicely squared away, and the same with our knees under our hips. Okay, so once you find yourself in a comfortable square, we're going to take a breath in. We're going to come forward to stretch over the hands. You'll hopefully be feeling it down the backs or the insides of the arms. And then as we exhale, we're going to bring our bottoms down onto our feet and stretch through the soles of the feet. Inhaling, we're going to come forward and over. And then exhaling, we're going to come back onto our feet, stretching the soles of the feet. One more time, inhaling. And exhaling, stretching through the soles and the feet. And then bringing ourselves back to tabletop. We're going to just push into the ground with our hands, raise our knees off. So it's like a hover off the ground, using our core here. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in. We're going to turn to our right. So I'm going to turn towards you. Bring the left hand onto the ground, right hand up into the air. And just stretching ourselves into supported side plank. Breath in, breath out. You can bring yourself into full side plank if that suits you too. Breath in, breath out. Breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to bring that right hand to join your left hand, and then take yourself into plank. Breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out, breath in. Bring the knees onto the mat, and then bring yourself into a comfortably squared away tabletop, and we'll take that on the other side. So you're going to bring yourself forward and over as you inhale, and then exhale, stretching through the soles and the feet, those toes curled under as you kneel back. Inhaling to come forward, and exhaling to come back. One more time, inhaling to come forward, exhaling to come back. And I think it's going to be one more time, inhaling to come forward, exhaling to come back. Going to bring ourselves to center, and then we're going to push the ground away with our hands, bringing our knees off the ground into a hover. Breath in, breath out. Really using that tummy, trying to keep that back as flat as you possibly can. So you're not kind of coming up or kind of coming in the back, just trying to keep flat. If it's too much, you can obviously keep the knees on the ground, but you're just wanting to really use the tummy here. Breath in, breath out. On the next breath in, we're going to turn to the left, bring our right knee onto the ground, take our left hand into the ground, into the air, and take ourselves into side plank. Breath in, breathing out into that left hand, stretching through the body. Again, as I said before, you can also bring yourself into full side plank here if you want something a little bit more challenging. Breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out. And whether you're in supported or full side plank, you're going to bring yourself back, bring those shoulders over the hands for full plank. Breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out. One more breath in, breath out. Bring the knees onto the mat, and then take yourself into child's pose. So just stretching through the arms, stretching through the spine. Breath in, breath out, breath in. When you're ready, we're going to curl those toes back under. We're going to bring ourselves gently and kindly into a downward dog. So bringing ourselves, no, nothing rushed, just listening to the body, just listening to what the body needs from you. Might be like me and my calves are really needing a little bit of a stretch, and my toes too. But you might want to transfer weight from hand to hand, foot to foot. Just feel that work. Well, what your body wants from you. And maybe those shoulder blades just coming up a bit, and then kind of pushing into the ground with the hands and the feet to find those shoulder blades sliding in and out of each other. That feels really nice too. Oh, beautiful. It's so wonderful to do yoga outdoors. I'm going to walk the hands up towards the feet now. And I'm going to turn towards you, but you can do it at the front of the mat too if that works for you. But I'm going to take myself into squat. Okay, now for squat, you can take yourself onto a block or 2 blocks, just kind of listening to what is needed from you. And obviously the other option is, you might be aware of already, is the blanket under the heels if you're finding your feet raising up off the floor. So just what you want is to find yourself something that you can kind of comfortably sit in, because again, we're going to take about 6 breaths here in squat position. So we're going to take our hands into prayer position, take our elbows, if you can, into the creases of the knees, and just hopefully feel for yourself that everything kind of connecting. It's almost like you can feel a circuit, like through your head, down into your shoulders, through your hands, into your heart, round. But then also where it's kind of coming round into the feet, and I can almost feel it like there as well, coming round into your pelvic core. So just feel everything kind of connecting and working as you take a nice strong breath in and out. Well, I've included this pose because it's obviously a popular weeding pose, But it's also, I feel like because we're pressing, and I often with plants when I'm moving them or I'm certainly new seedlings, I'm pressing them into the ground and giving them a good solid start as I water them, feed them, but also just kind of strongly bed them into the ground so their roots get a really good kick start. And again, I just thought it was a really good way of us thinking about how we look after ourselves as well, how we give ourselves a good start to the day, how we listen to what our body needs, but giving it that time to bed in as well. Sometimes things take a while to settle. So just taking another breath for yourself here. Now I'm going to turn sideways, only so you can see what I'm doing. It doesn't really matter whether you're facing me or to the side at home. I just figured might be easier this way around. We're going to circle that right arm. Actually, we're going to bring both hands onto the mat first. We're going to circle that right arm up and over and behind us. And then we're going to circle the left arm up and over and behind us. And then just as we did before in our seated pigeon, we're going to raise our shoulders, well, take our shoulders back, raise our chest through, raise our chin up and push into the ground with our hands behind us. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. And if we're going to invite you to bring the left arm up and over, and then bring the left elbow to the outside of the right knee, and then from there we're going to take a spinal twist. So you're using that left arm as leverage and then taking yourself in a twist. You can even use the head to look over that right shoulder if you want to give yourself something quite deep, or if you want something just a bit gentle, you can just keep the head looking straight in front of you. So again, just taking a breath in and breathing out, and just seeing if you can either extend upwards or slightly grow that twist around to the right. It's quite a strong twist, and it's different to obviously when you're seated. Then here it's much more kind of in the thoracic area. So just listening to your body. One breath for yourself. And then from there, letting the head come back to the left. We're going to arc that arm up and over behind you. One last one last chest raise. I can't talk. I'm slightly kind of going into my body here. Bring the right arm up and over, and bring the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. So twisting around to the left now with your chest. Using that right elbow into the leg as a leverage to enable you to twist around. Breath in, breath out. Again, if it feels right, you can look over that left shoulder. If it's too strong, just keep looking ahead. Just tuning into what's needed from your body. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. And then when you're ready, letting that head come back round to center, circling that right arm up and over behind you, back onto the mat behind you, raising that chest up. Breath out, raising that chest. And then from that, breath in, circle that left arm over, circle that right arm over, and then from here we're going to very slowly use, if your hands are not on the floor, if it feels uncomfortable, you can bring them onto the legs. You know, slightly straighten the legs, taking ourselves into a dangle pose. So keeping the legs bent, bringing the chest forward and over onto the thighs, so slightly resting. And we're going to take our hands, so our elbows rest in the palms of our hands, if that's comfortable. If not, just take them down towards the ground. Using the weight of the head to stretch that thoracic area that you've just been working. And just taking a couple of nice long breaths for yourself. When you're ready, swapping arms so the other arm comes in front. And we're going to slightly straighten the legs, and not fully extend it, but just so you're engaging more of the hamstrings, maybe a bit more of the calves too. So, and then because the chest is no longer resting on the thighs, hopefully You're feeling that stretch through the spine a bit more now as the weight of the head pulls it down lower. Breath in. As you breathe out, letting that head fill and weight down towards the ground. Last breath for yourself. From here, releasing the hands down towards the ground. And then from here, I hope you can hear me okay. We're going to just let the pelvis tuck under and slowly, really taking your time because we've been inverted for a while. Bring the, uncurling the body, bringing yourself into a Tadasana. Just allowing the head, the shoulders. I might want to take a couple of shoulder rolls. It feels really good. I'm just going to just find a good width of feet. I'm finding more and more I'm enjoying Tadasana with my feet more hip width apart, but you just, again, for yourself, just taking what works for you. But certainly wherever you are, taking off all 5 toes off the ground, raising them up and then putting them back onto the mat one by one, so that you can kind of feel the soles of the feet working for you. And from here we're going to take a breath in, bring our hands up into prayer, and then bring the hands just to pause in prayer by the heart for a moment, pressing those hands into each other, just feeling the body working for you, feeling that energy between the hands. Breath in, breath out. Breath in. As you breathe out, releasing those hands either side of the body. And we're going to take 2 sun salutation A. So breath in. Bring yourself forward and down to the ground. Inhaling into half fold. Exhaling into forward fold. Stepping back into plank. Lowering into chaturanga of your choice. If it feels comfortable, you can bring your knees down first. So it's like a knees, chest, chin chaturanga. And then extending that head through into cobra or upward dog, depending on how you're feeling. And then raising those hips into downward dog. And we're going to take about 2 breaths here, just to really stretch throughout our downward dog. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. And then we're going to walk or step the feet up towards the hands. Bring yourself into forward fold. Inhale to half fold. Exhale to forward fold. And then taking those arms out to the side. Bring yourself up into Tadasana. Bring those hands up into prayer. Into the heart. And then releasing those hands, giving a little bit back. Lovely. I'll take that one more time. Breath in. Bring the hands down. Pass the heart into forward fold down to the ground. Lovely. Inhale to half fold. Exhale to forward fold. Stepping back into plank. Chaturanga of your choice. Inhaling into either cobra or upward dog. Raising the hips into downward dog for yourself. 2 breaths here, just allow yourself to stretch through. Breath in, breath out. Lovely. Breath in, breath out. And then from there, either stepping, walking or jumping, depending on how you're feeling. You can bring yourself into half fold, well, full fold first. Inhaling to half fold. Exhaling to full fold. From here, taking the hands up into prayer position. Past the heart. And then opening them either side of the hips. We're going to take sun salutation C into our harvesting, our flow position. So we take a breath in. We're going to just take a little back bend at the top. Our hands may be more in parallel at the top, and then as we, at the top of our back bend, reach for our fruit from literally the tree. This would be a cherry. We're going to bring ourselves forward and down to the ground. We're going to take our right foot behind us first into crescent lunge, and then taking our hands up in parallel. Taking a breath in. As we breathe out, we're going to just exhale and take a little upper back bend. Reach for our fruit. Bring it down either side of our front foot. And then from here, taking ourselves into plank, into a vinyasa. Exhaling into chaturanga. Inhaling into the cobra or upward dog before raising the hips. As we do into downward dog, breath in, breath out. Jumping or stepping the feet up towards the hands. Taking yourself into forward fold. And from here, take the left foot behind you into crescent lunge with the right leg in front. Breath in as you raise those hands up. Inhaling, and as you exhale, reaching behind you for a little upper back bend, opening this chest up, reaching for the fruit, and then bringing it either side of the front right leg. Going to bring that left leg to join the right for a forward fold, and then from there, reaching up, bringing the hands into prayer, bringing the hands down past the heart, either side of that front right foot. And from here, we're going to take the right foot up in front, just taking the arms in line with the leg, and then take the right foot behind you into warrior one with the left foot in front. So finding yourself into a comfortable warrior one, a nice solid base, arms in parallel. Breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to open the arms into warrior two, stretching out, and then from there bring the left elbow onto the left thigh and bring the right arm up and over. Breath in. And then as you breathe out, we're going to pick our fruit and take it behind us into the bag behind our arm. And again, breath in. Picking the fruit in our side angle twist and drop it into the bag behind us. And one more time. Arcing that right arm up and over as you inhale, picking your fruit and then taking it behind you into the bag and dropping it. And then from there, we're going to take ourselves to face the side of the mat into a nice strong star, picking our fruit and then taking ourselves into goddess with cactus arms, reversing those cactus arms to drop the fruit, and then returning to star. Breath in, picking the fruit as you exhale, taking yourself back into goddess, reversing the cactus arms, dropping the fruit. And then from there, taking the hands onto the thighs, going to straighten both legs and then forward fold into straddle, bringing yourself up and over, keeping the hands on the legs. We're going to try and, if you can, kind of grasping the ankles. You can go higher up as well, depending on where you are. We're going to try and almost like seemingly pull our legs out of the ground, like we're basically harvesting some root vegetables. Quite a big, strong root vegetable. So you're pulling the feet away from the ground, which hopefully helps bring you closer towards your legs, but also gives you a nice stretch or freeing in the legs at the same time. So just taking a breath here in as you're kind of pulling the legs away out of the ground. One more breath in and exhale. Breath in. Release the grasp of the ankles or the legs, and then walk the hands from the center where they've hopefully landed, bringing them over to the left foot. We're going to take ourselves into Skandasana. So we're stretching that right leg out to the side, and then from there taking ourselves over our left foot, just stretching that. If that left leg is raising up, I find you get a better stretch, I find, if you keep the leg on the ground and almost bring yourself upwards and over for that stretch. So, because sometimes obviously that brings the knee over. So you just want to keep that knee open and that foot on the ground if you can for Skandasana here. We're not doing the balance. Then we're going to walk the hands over to the right foot and take Skandasana on the other side. So stretching that left leg out to the side, keeping that right ankle on the floor and that knee over the toes. The most important thing about Skandasana is that stretch, that you feel that stretch, that opening in that extended leg. Breath in, breath out, breath in. We're going to turn to the right, walk ourselves, going to come back on the mat more, into a lunge, lizard lunge, where we're taking the right hand and the left hand to the side, left side of that right foot. So if you can even walk that right foot a bit out to the side. It gives a nice kind of opening in the hip, and it helps you extend that left leg away more. Breath in, breath out, pushing into the ground with both hands, grounding yourself and allowing you hopefully to push a little bit of weight into that right foot as well. Breath out. One more breath here. And then from here you can bring that leg down to the ground if you want to. Again, if you want something more challenging, you can leave it in the air. We're going to take the left hand off the mat and we're going to extend that left hand up towards the sky. You can even look towards it if you want, and then bring it back. Inhaling. This is almost like a lawnmower pull. If you want to give it a bit more emphasis, you can. Looking to the hand if you want to, and then bring it to join the right hand. And then we'll do that on the other side. We're going to lift the right hand, twist the shoulders round to the right, looking up to the hand if you want to, and then bring that right hand down. And again, picking that right hand off the ground. You could reach for some more fruit actually at this point, couldn't you? And then put it back into your bag. And then from here, we're going to take that right hand over to the other side of the right foot and then take a vinyasa. So take that right foot behind for a plank into chaturanga, extending the head forward into the cobra or upward dog, raising the hips into downward dog. Lovely. And then from here, stepping or jumping the feet up towards the hands. Bring yourself into a forward fold. And then from there, bring yourself up. Reaching to the sky. Bring the hands through prayer, past the heart. Opening the hands either side of the hips. We'll take the sequence on the other side. So we're going to lift that left knee off the ground, keeping those arms in line with the leg, and then take the left leg behind you into warrior one with the right leg in front. Arms in a nice strong parallel. There you go. Breath in, breath out, opening the arms into warrior two. So you're stretching arms in opposite directions. Real nice openness in the chest, openness in the hips, which are facing the side of the mat at this point, even though you're looking down that right arm. Breath in. As you breathe out, you bring the right elbow onto the right thigh and bring that left arm over into side angle lunge. Nice stretch. We're going to pick our fruit. As we inhale and as we exhale, we're going to arc the arm up, over and behind and drop it in the bag behind us. And again, inhaling, picking the fruit. And taking that arm up behind the back, dropping it into our bag. One more time. Arcing the arm up and over, reaching for our fruit, and then taking it up and over behind us, dropping in the bag. And we're going to straighten both legs, turn towards the left side of the mat, taking ourselves into star position, stretching arms and legs as much as you can, picking your fruit and then taking yourself into goddess. So bending the legs out to the side and then reversing those cactus arms, dropping the fruit. One more time. Stretching up in star to pick your fruit. Inhaling, exhaling, taking yourself into a nice wide, sumptuous goddess. And then reversing those cactus arms. Hopefully gives you a nice stretch down the fronts of the shoulders, dropping those fruit. And then straightening the legs, taking the hands onto the legs and then bringing yourself in a forward fold into straddle. We're going to try and, if you can, kind of grasping the ankles. You can go higher up as well, depending on where you are. We're going to try and almost like seemingly pull our legs out of the ground, like we're basically harvesting some root vegetables. So just taking a breath here in as you're kind of pulling the legs away out of the ground. One more breath in and exhale. breath in. Release the grasp of the ankles or the legs. And from here, we're going to walk the hands over to the right foot first. So we're bending the right leg, extending the left leg into Skandasana. Stretching, breath in. Breathing out, sending that breath down the back of the left leg. You can use this right elbow actually to keep this right knee back if that feels comfortable too. Breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to walk those hands over to the left side and take Skandasana on the other leg. So extending that right leg, trying to keep that left heel on the ground if you can. So stopping it, raising it, because it can make it quite precarious, and bring that knee over. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, sending breath down the back of that right leg. And then we're going to turn to our left and bring ourselves into lizard lunge with the left leg in front. I'm just going to bring that leg further onto the mat so you can see it. We're going to take our hands to the right side of the left foot, maybe moving, scooching that left foot out to the side a little to just keep those, so those hips are slightly wider. And you can then stretch a little bit further, I think, forward onto that left foot while extending that right leg behind you. So increasing that kind of separation between the legs. Breath in. Now, obviously, you can bring your right leg off the floor as well. It depends how challenging you want it to be here. So just listening to what your body needs. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. And as we did on the other side, we're going to lift the right arm. This was, you can bring the right leg down again if you want to at this point, or you can keep working that right leg if you want to. And we're going to take the right arm away as you breathe in, maybe looking up, and then bring that right hand back. And again, releasing as you inhale. This was in my practice meant to be more of a lawnmower pull, but it feels different when you're out in the garden today. So from here, we're going to open the left arm and twist the shoulders round to the left, stretching up. Again, we could pick some fruit here. And then as we exhale, bring the left hand to join the right hand. One more time. Inhaling, reach the left hand up to the sky, maybe looking up to it, reaching for our fruit. Exhaling, bring the left hand onto the mat. And then from here, I'm going to lift the left hand to the other side of the left foot, maybe bring that left foot into the middle more. And then we're going to take that left foot behind us into a plank. Bring the knees onto the mat, and then bringing ourselves back into child's pose. So feeling that stretch through the arms, the spine. Taking a nice couple of breaths in. Deep into those ribs, maybe feeling those ribs in the back of the spine expanding, moving up and sideways, and then exhaling to release. One more time. Inhaling. And then exhaling. And then from here, we're going to travel along the fronts of our bodies. Bring ourselves onto the front of the mat. Out and along. And then we're going to turn ourselves onto our backs. And how could we not finish the sequence but with a plough for our gardener sequence? So we're going to take our legs up into half shavasana. Placing the palms face down on the mat, we're going to raise the knees into the air, taking the feet off the ground. And then from there, when you're ready, taking a breath in. And as you breathe out, lift the hips off the ground and bring the hands to the base of the spine for plough. So taking those arms, as I say, but to support the back of the lower back, and then extending the legs out and long, so there's a nice weight in those legs to help it stretch the spine and also give a gentle compression to the organs. If this doesn't suit you, you could take a bridge, taking yourself into half shavasana and lifting those hips and chest off a couple of times. But if you are in plough, it's going to encourage you, while it's quite hard because everything's kind of slightly crushed in the ribs, just taking some nice strong breaths here is so helpful for just clearing out, purging any last remaining traces of toxins you might be having in those lungs. Breath in and breath out. Breath in and breath out. I'm going to take about 2 or 3 more breaths here. If that feels too much, by all means, bring yourself out of the position. Everything is an invitation in this sequence. Breath in, breath out. It's a good spot for a jai, actually, this. You got a good natural snore going on. Lovely. So when you're ready, taking a breath in, taking the palms, facing them down onto the mat for some support. Breath in, and as you exhale, uncurling the spine very, very slowly, using those hands to give you some stability. Uncurling, bringing yourself through onto the mat. We're going to bring the knees for a moment just into the chest. So it's a bit like a soft form of happy baby. So we're bringing the knees towards the armpits, really. Just giving them, but pressing the knees in to that kind of outer area of the chest. Taking a breath in and a big long sigh out. And again, a long breath in. You can make it as noisy as you want as you sigh out. You're hopefully on your own at home, or maybe in a group practicing. Lovely. And then from there, we're going to take ourselves into the most comfortable shavasana that we can. All right, making ourselves very, very comfortable, taking any props we want, bolsters under the legs. You might be practicing this in the depths of winter, I was just thinking, actually. But maybe you can imagine the sun on your face. And from here, just allowing yourself to really relax the body. Let go of any last moments of tension. Aware of where your body is making contact with the mat. So any last moments of tension can just seep through those moments into the mat, into the ground, the earth beneath, and just seep away. Letting go of any tension you might be holding in the feet, the heels, the ankles. Letting go of any tension in the shins, releasing in the knees. Letting go in the thighs. Letting a heaviness into the hips. Letting go of any tension you might be holding in the fingers, the palms, the hands. Releasing in the wrists, the forearms, the elbows, the biceps, the triceps, the shoulders. Allowing a lightness into the diaphragm. Letting go in the ribs, the upper chest, unclenching the jaw, letting go of the tongue from the top of the mouth, releasing the nose, the cheekbones, the eye sockets, unfurrowing the brow, and releasing any last moments of tension from the top of the head. Going to leave you for a few moments to release and relax on your own. Maybe even tuning into the bird song you might be able to hear in the garden right now, just to help you relax. I invite you to become aware of your breath, aware of where your body is on the mat right now. Inviting a gentle motion into the fingers and the toes, and the arms and the legs. You can stay obviously in shavasana for much longer if you want to, and you have the video so you can pause it even. But if you want to, invite you to join me for a seated asana to close practice together. So you can bring your knees up, bringing the feet closer towards the body, and then gently and kindly and slowly taking your body over to the right, using your hands to gently bring your body upwards. And from here, we're going to just bring ourselves into a seated position. Take our hands into prayer position. As a show of gratitude to yourself for your concentration, your energy, and a beautiful connection you've hopefully created for yourself with your body. And gratitude to the world around you that's both inspired the sequence, but hopefully enabled you to think again about how you either spend time gardening or others spend time gardening, and the world we have around us, showing compassion for them, trees and the grass and the plants, but also for yourself. Thank you.